Hello and welcome to another episode of my Productivity Mastery series. My name is Pullein and today we're looking at one of the biggest mistakes I see people making when they start to use a task manager. Now, let me paint a picture for you first. Now, imagine that you start the day and you look at your calendar and you have 6 meetings for the day. Perhaps you've got 2 in the morning and you've got 4 in the afternoon, and the average length of each meeting is around 45 minutes. Now, let's look at your task manager for the day and imagine also that you have 35 tasks on your task manager for the day. You have just made one of the biggest mistakes I see in productivity systems. You have way too many tasks because your meetings are going to take up a large proportion of your day. Pretty much 6 one-hour meetings if you include arriving at the meeting and leaving the meeting and perhaps having to take a few notes and just summarizing those notes at the end of the meeting. You have basically maxed out your day to a point where you are not going to be able to do all the things that you would like to do that day. Now, that's actually fine, not being able to do everything you want to do. In fact, that's probably part of life. But we have to get realistic about what is happening each day. Now, I'm talking specifically about Monday to Friday when we're at work. On a weekend, it might be a little bit different. You're not obviously going to have meetings on a weekend unless you're meeting friends, which is a different thing altogether. So what can we do to eliminate this problem? Well, the only way you're going to do this is to be making sure that you're doing weekly and daily planning sessions. And I talk about this a lot. I write about it a lot. I put it in my podcast. It's like I'm hammering home the message. It's a simple message, but yet so few people are consistently doing that weekly and daily planning. Now, I like to think of this as very much like what a paramedic would do. A paramedic, when they arrive at a scene with an unconscious patient, are not making sure, we've got to check their name, their security number, where are they from? That's not what they do. When they arrive at a scene with an unconscious patient, there are 3 things they must do. Check the airway, check the pulse, and check the blood pressure. Those are what's regarded as the vital signs. Now, I like to think of the way that we work. I'm not a medical professional, but one of the ways that I like to work is to know what is my vital work for the day. Now, this is going to be consistent. I have a number of tasks that I have to do each day, one of which is create content. Another one would be to ensure that my coaching clients' feedback is written, and also to make sure that I do something on my project works. So these are 3 critical things that must happen each day. Essentially, I have 3 tasks that must happen each day. Everything else in a very, very, very busy day can be pushed off to another day. But I get to see that when I do the weekly and daily planning. Now, when you do a weekly planning, you're not always going to be able to see every meeting that's going to be for that week. You're going to pick up meetings ad hoc. They just happen. You might get a boss that says, right guys, we have to have a meeting this afternoon. These are meetings you cannot anticipate. They just happen. You might even have a client crisis where you have to have a meeting with a client. And again, that might not be something you can see in the weekly planning session. But it is something you can probably anticipate when you do the daily planning session. And the daily planning session is just 10 minutes. It's not long. All you're doing is you look at your calendar. What are my meetings for tomorrow? And then you look at your task manager and you think, okay, is this realistic? Do I have enough space between my meetings and commitments to be able to do these tasks? That's it. That's all you're doing in a daily planning session. Now, it's perfectly okay to be rescheduling tasks. And when you're doing the daily planning session, you are proactively rescheduling tasks because life is just like that. You're going to pick up things that you weren't aware of when you do the weekly planning session, or as some people call it, the weekly review. And that's why we need that 10 minutes at the end of the day. Now, where you do that is entirely up to you. You can do that just as you finish work for the day, or you can do it before you go to bed. I prefer to do mine around about 10:30 in the evening, because then I'm much more relaxed and I like to know what I'm starting the day with. It could be, like most mornings I start with coaching calls, and that's going to take me up until say 9 a.m. And then I usually have a little break, go down and see my wife and say hello to my little dog. And then I'll come back to the office, and then it's on to content work. I try to make sure that my mornings are blocked out so I can work on the content, because it's a critical thing. Getting content written or recorded or prepared is a critical part of my work. The question I have for you is, what is the critical part of your work? Make sure that you have that in your task manager, prioritize, and you know before the day starts when you are going to do it. This is one of the reasons why it's so important to know what your core work is, to know what your areas of focus are. You do need to know these, because these are the critical, these are the important tasks that you need to do each day, every day, and each week. It's just what you've decided is how your life is going to work out to the better, is that these things happen every day or every week. You do need to establish what they are. And so making sure you spend a little bit of time really thinking about what is your core work, and making sure that those tasks are set up to repeat in your task manager so that they can be incorporated into your day. Similarly, you do the same with your areas of focus, those 8 areas of focus that are critical for our lives, just our whole life. The family and relationships, your financial health, your physical and mental health, your life experiences and lifestyle, your self-development, your career. These are all really important areas of focus that you need to know what they mean to you, and what are those tasks that you have to do on a regular basis in order to keep them in balance. Now, as I'm speaking, all that sounds like, oh, it's a lot of work. It isn't. Yes, the back-end work does take time. You might need a few days to be able to set everything up properly. But I can promise you that if you do take that time, the benefits to your health, to your productivity is massive, because the right things are getting done every day. You're in charge of what's happening in your daily life. Those meetings, if you've got those 6 to 8 meetings in a day, you can feel comfortable that you can move off some of those less important tasks to another part of the day. And another tip I should point out, and this is another mistake that I see, is people will get to the end of the day and they'll still have 20 tasks left on the day, and they just reschedule them for tomorrow. Well, now you've just caused yourself an even bigger problem for tomorrow, because you may have 4 meetings tomorrow, but you've also got 55 tasks to do. Guys, it's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to get those tasks done. You are not a machine. You are a human being. You need your sleep. You need the right food. You need to be drinking water. You need your physical fitness to be able to consistently do your work. All these things are important. And you're not going to be able to do 55, 60 or 80 tasks a day. It's just not going to happen, particularly if you've got meetings as well. So start getting real, start getting smart about your productivity. Make sure you do that 10 minutes before you finish the day to look at your task manager, look at your calendar, and make sure that you know you can realistically do what's on your list. And if not, just reschedule some of those tasks, or if you can, reschedule some of those meetings. That can be done as well. But you're looking at making sure that you have enough flexibility in the day to be able to get the right things done, the important things done, and still be able to attend your meetings and be focused in those meetings. Well, thank you very much for watching this episode. It just remains for me now to wish you all a very, very productive week. Hello, thank you very much for watching my videos. Now I have something exciting to tell you about. Recently I have developed a brand new time management system. It's a system designed to manage your time in the 21st century. The world has changed a lot over the last 20 years. In fact, it's actually changed a lot this year. And what we need now is a system, a time management system that is very easy to use, easy to maintain, so that you can spend more of your time doing the work. And that's what the time sector system is all about. It's going to change your whole belief system about the way a time management system should work, because this focuses on when you are going to do the task. And let's be honest, it doesn't matter how motivated, inspired, or how urgent something is. If you don't have time to do it, it is never going to get done. And that's what this system is built around, getting your work done, so you can spend more of your time doing the things that you want to do. I hope you join me in this course. The full details of the course are in the show notes below, so please join me, and thank you very much for watching this brief video.